Okay, so we got some, at least 4 of them ready. I'm really concentrating on those right now. It's actually time to start making some sheaths for them. I don't know. I can make sheaths. I'm not going to tell you I can do the best sheaths in the world. They hold the knife, they hold together. And I try and make them look as nice as possible, but it's not my specialty. To the point where I've actually made templates, especially for the HK knives. Just use my standard template for these ones, and not to get fancy. Cut them out. Just use a standard knife just to cut around them after I've drawn the basic shape on them. And now I'll trim them down. And after that, I have to start cutting out the bits. And the bits go in between. The bits go in between where the two sides of the sheath meet, because that's where the knife blade runs, and it just makes it less likely to end up getting cut your stitching. So we've got an early attempt at putting a belt clip on them. The belt clips you buy, they're really tough. I've learned since that you have to really work on them before you actually put them in something nice. But still. Anyway, so after I make the bit, what I'll actually do is I'll tack the bit onto the leather and then tack it closed. There's actually a lot of different leather glues, but since the stitching's what hold them together, the same way the pins hold the knives together, and the tacking is just temporary while you work on it. I've actually found that just standard cheap wood glue will work as well, just a simple Elmer's glue, just to hold it in place. Then I'll mark where I want to stitch, and then I'll treat or prepare, which means washing, damping, the leather and dye it before I actually start finish sanding, because these edges aren't going to be flush. They're not going to come out like this no matter how carefully I cut them out. And so what I do is I tack them together, find the stitching lines, and then I'll go ahead and actually just sand all of that smooth. And then I'll readjust the stitching line if I need to before I actually start putting any punch holes or drilling any holes. It's the quickest way, just drill all the way along. And actually put the stitching in there nice and tight. And so therefore I'll be dyed, it'll be stitched together, and this will look flush. And then I'll go around it and make sure this is flush, and what do they call it, burn the edges. Well, a bunch of tools to do that with, but the way I think of it is, what do you call them here? I don't know, a Chinese burn, when someone rubs your arm really hard and leaves a red mark. This is just, leather's just skin, right? And I think of it as the same way, so you just need something that creates a lot of friction, and this one doesn't work quite in the middle there. I didn't get it flushed, but it makes it smoother, and also you can round the edges, providing it should be a more finished look, and also it's nice to the touch. And then I'll have to go back and stain the edges as well with all that sanding and work. That'll actually be the original color of the leather, and not whatever stain you use. And so I'll go ahead and restain the edges. It should be just about a sheath to fit. As far as getting a sheath to fit, again, I've got this little template here, so I know they fit HK knives. It's not much good if you are not making a HK knife where you don't know the dimensions of this. Initially, the way I started is you just lay it down on a piece of paper or a piece of cardboard. What you want to do is give yourself variance. Obviously the knife edge is going to be pointing towards the outside of either side. Either side of the sheath. You find your center line, or actually you don't have the template there, so you just draw a center line. Make sure you have enough space that when it bends over, this is still in the center. Some of this is going to be taken up with the fold itself, this part. This is not zero sum, right? So you actually need yourself leave yourself some room in the center. Where I'm not a sheath expert, I can't tell you exactly how much that is. For a start, it depends on the handle, which is why I make each one to fit the knife itself instead of making them in advance or anything like that. So it will come out a little different, and all knives are a little different anyway. So where was it? Yeah. So after you've at least marked a center line, then I actually just trace the knife blade edge, and then again I give myself enough leeway, one, to put the bit in, so it's going to come in a little bit, and then a little extra. It's like with a before I attach the handles, remember, I leave myself variance, or leeway, just in case it's too tight or not tight enough, and then I can move it back and forward with sanding or cutting. Anyway, so yeah, I definitely recommend making a template with the knife blank or the knife with the handle on it, preferably, to get an idea. Then you fold that over and find where it hits the other edge, trace around that, and make two. And again, I really recommend in all walks of life, leave yourself leeway. So this should, especially when you first make a template, be bigger than you need, and you find yourself sanding, cutting, or trimming it down to find the exact length. Which is why, when I made the first one, I didn't fully attach it. I actually just made it so it mostly fit. I found the right size, and I pulled it apart again in order to retrace it from a new piece of cardboard. And then I have a template, so I don't have to do all that over again every time. Now, because I'm like this, that's why it's a hobby, and I do it at all, and I get very bored, especially with just doing the same old sheaths. So I've got a number of templates. Sometimes they're straight edge, sometimes I like when I think of a square edge, or instead of this curve here, which I've done a lot of sheaths, which has been a rectangle, if you like. And I've played with the shapes, but this is a standard one because I find it fits in a pocket very well. Got a little gap there to kind of contour the inside of a jean pocket. But yeah, you can play with it. That's how I go about it. Again, there are a whole bunch of expert leather makers on YouTube. Online, I recommend paying them. They do really, really good work, and there's a lot involved in it. Especially RG Grizzle is probably one of my favorites right now. Should check his website out. But anyway, I just make them because I need them to ship them in something. And when you get a new knife, you want to carry it straight away, right? I'm certainly not making something of that quality, or that artistry. I think the quality in terms of how well it stands up, how well it holds together is just fine. But it's certainly not artistry. Anyway, so onto the sheaths. Wish me luck.